Before we get into the historic season, it is important to recount how and where it all began. Inter's history is filled with ups and downs. It's a club born out of rebellion when they broke away from AC Milan in 1908 because they wanted to accept foreign players without limits as well as Italians. In 1910, they won their first ever Scudetto. However, the most successful era came after Helenio Herrera joined Internazionale from Barcelona and brought Luis Suarez with him in 1960. Luis Suarez had famously won the European Footballer of the Year this very year for his role in Barca's La Liga and Fairs Cup double. Herrera transformed Inter into one of the greatest teams in the history of football. His team boasted a formidable lineup with iconic players who left an indelible mark on the club's history. The likes of Tarcisio Bugnic, Giacinto Facchetti, Armando Picci, Luis Suarez, Jair, Mario Corso and Sandro Mazzola formed the backbone of Inter Milan's success. The performances of this talented squad earned Herrera the nickname Il Mago, the magician of football. The 1963-64 European Cup campaign proved to be a turning point for Inter. Overcoming Partizan and Borussia Dortmund in the quarterfinals and semifinals respectively, Inter faced the storied Real Madrid in the final. Despite Real Madrid's illustrious history, it was Sandro Mazzola's remarkable brace that secured a resounding 3-1 victory for Inter. This triumph was followed by a triumphant Intercontinental Cup win over Argentine club Independiente. In 1967, Inter reached the European Cup final for the third time. During the match, star playmaker Luis Suarez's absence due to injury proved to be a significant setback. Despite Sandro Mazzola's penalty goal, Celtic emerged victorious, denying Inter the title. Following the glorious era of the 1960s, the subsequent decades for Inter Milan failed to sparkle as brightly. While there were accomplishments along the way, when measured against the cross-town rivals AC Milan and other Italian powerhouses like Juventus, Roma and Napoli, these achievements paled in comparison. Inter Milan's think tank made ambitious moves, acquiring renowned players and hiring esteemed coaches, but the desired results remained elusive. However, it was the 1990s that proved to be particularly disheartening, leaving Inter and their loyal supporters deeply disappointed. In the decade following their disappointing spell, Inter's fortunes began to take a turn for the better. The team showcased their mettle by reaching the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League in the 2002-03 season, though they narrowly lost to the crosstown rivals AC Milan by a single goal differential. On 8th July 2004, Inter appointed Roberto Mancini, former coach of Lazio, as their new head coach. In his debut season, the team displayed remarkable consistency, collecting 72 points from 18 victories, 18 draws and just 2 losses. Their impressive performance led them to triumph in both the Coppa Italia and Supercoppa Italiana. Inter's trajectory took an unexpected turn when they were retrospectively awarded the 2005-06 Serie A Championship. This decision followed the relegation of title-winning Juventus and the stripping of points from Milan due to Calciopoli scandal. Building on their success, Inter continued to make their mark. On 22nd April 2007, they clinched their second consecutive Scudetto and their first earned solely on the field since 1989. Looking ahead to the 2007-08 season, Inter set their sights on securing both the Serie A title and the Champions League trophy. They began strongly in the league, leading the table from the start and also progressing to the knockout stage of the Champions League. However, a late collapse, including a 2-0 defeat to Liverpool with 10 men, cast doubt on manager Roberto Mancini's future. Domestic form took a sharp turn, with the team going winless in 3 subsequent Serie A matches. Initially, he announced his intent to leave his position immediately, only to reverse that decision the following day. On the final day of the 2007-8 Serie A season, Inter faced Parma in a crucial match. Thanks to 2 goals from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, they secured their 3rd consecutive championship. Unfortunately, Mancini was subsequently sacked due to his earlier announcement to depart from the club. Inter wanted that elusive European glory. They wanted to relive the moments of winning the Champions League. The search had begun for a new manager, somebody who can deliver that ever-evasive European glory. Enter José Mourinho.
I'm European champion. I think I'm a special one.
At the time, Mourinho was a rising star in the managerial sphere. He had already performed a miracle by winning the Champions League with the underdogs, Porto. His arrival at Chelsea in 2004 sent shockwaves through the footballing world. In his first Chelsea press conference, he said,
Please don't call me arrogant, because what I'm saying is true. I'm European champion, so I'm not one of the bottle. I think I'm a special one.
And in the next 3 seasons, the special one went on to win multiple trophies at Chelsea, including 2 Premier League titles, 2 League Cups and an FA Cup. However, his relationship with then Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich broke down, that resulted into him leaving Chelsea. Maybe it was all perfectly timed. On 2nd June 2008, Mourinho succeeded Mancini as the manager of Inter on a 3-year contract. He brought most of his backroom staff from Chelsea and Porto with him. Giuseppe Baresi, a former Inter player and previous head coach of the club's youth academy, was handpicked by Mourinho to be his assistant. With his deep knowledge of the club and its values, Baresi was seen as an ideal choice to support Mourinho in his new role. During his inaugural press conference as Inter boss, Mourinho made a notable statement by conversing solely in Italian. He boldly claimed to have learned the language in just 3 weeks. In terms of transfer strategy, Mourinho expressed his intention to focus on making a limited number of signings during the summer window. With a selective approach in mind, he aimed to strengthen the squad strategically rather than making numerous changes. As the transfer window drew to a close, Mourinho successfully secured the signatures of 3 new players for the team: the Brazilian winger Mancini, the Ghanaian midfielder Souley Muntari, the Portuguese winger Ricardo Quaresma, and Hernan Crespo. In 2010, Frank Lampard admitted that he was very close to joining Inter in the summer of 2008 when José Mourinho became the manager of the Italian club. Reports surfaced during that time suggesting that a transfer fee had been agreed upon by both the clubs and a contract had been prepared. However, Lampard decided to withdraw from the deal at the 11th hour. In an interview with Gazzetta dello Sport, Lampard revealed that his choice was significantly influenced by the passing of his mother in April earlier that year. In his debut season as the head coach of Inter, Mourinho achieved a notable feat by winning the Supercoppa Italiana, prevailing over Roma in a penalty shootout. He also led the team to claim the top spot in Serie A, demonstrating their dominance in the domestic league. However, they failed to secure victory in the Coppa Italia, succumbing to a 3-1 aggregate loss against Sampdoria in the semi-finals. Amidst these competitions, UEFA began exerting pressure on top clubs in prominent leagues to prioritize the inclusion of homegrown players. Mourinho responded by granting significant playing time to the 18-year-old Italian forward Mario Balotelli and promoting academy defender Davide Santon to the first team on a permanent basis. This move effectively integrated an Italian contingent into a squad previously dominated by foreign players. Both Balotelli and Santon played crucial roles in the team's successful pursuit of the Scudetto and earned their first senior trophy through their contributions. Despite the domestic achievements, Mourinho's inaugural season in Italy received mixed reviews from Inter fans. Some supporters deemed it disappointing since the club was unable to surpass the previous performances in the Champions League under Roberto Mancini's leadership. Mediocre displays during the group stage raised concerns about the team's performance. While Inter managed to progress to the knockout stages, their journey was cut short as they were defeated by Manchester United, denying them a place in the quarter-finals. On 16th May 2009, Inter secured the Serie A title. Inter finished the season 10 points ahead of Milan. By clinching the league title, Inter achieved a remarkable feat, becoming the first club in the past 6 decades to win the title for 4 consecutive seasons. This accomplishment in itself was highly esteemed, placing them in the company of Torino and Juventus as the only clubs to achieve such a record. Moreover, Inter's triumph in 2009 marked a distinction as the first club outside of Turin to accomplish this remarkable feat. Thus, we arrive at the monumental season. But as fate would have it, the journey through the season wasn't an easy one. In his quest to strengthen the team, Mourinho provided the management with a list of players he desired to acquire. His preferred style of play involved a high defensive line, which necessitated the addition of a defender with specific attributes to fit his tactical approach. One player Mourinho hoped to attract was his former player Ricardo Carvalho, who was currently at Chelsea. Carvalho had previously played under Mourinho both at Porto and at Chelsea, and there were rumours linking him to Inter upon Mourinho's arrival at the club. However, a transfer deal did not materialise at the time. Speaking about Carvalho's potential move, Mourinho expressed his admiration for the Portuguese defender, considering him as one of the best central defenders in the world. He remarked that a year prior it seemed impossible to envision Carvalho joining Inter, but now he believed it could become a reality. Chelsea, however, refused any offer. In the April 2009, Inter witnessed the departure of the Brazilian striker Adriano, marking the beginning of a series of player exits. Shortly after, the Argentine duo of Julian Cruz and Hernan Crespo also left the club, followed by the retirement of the legendary Portuguese attacking midfielder Luis Figo. Figo had come close to leaving Inter under Roberto Mancini due to limited playing time. However, in his final season, Mourinho utilized him more frequently. To reinforce the team, Mourinho made significant signings in the summer transfer window of his second season. He acquired Argentine striker Diego Milito. Additionally, Mourinho bolstered the midfield by bringing in Thiago Motta and Wesley Sneijder. The most noteworthy of his signings was the exchange deal that swapped Zlatan Ibrahimovic from Barcelona in return for Cameroonian striker Samuel Eto'o, plus a reported £35 million. This transaction stood as the second most expensive transfer in history at the time, following Cristiano Ronaldo's move from Manchester United to Real Madrid earlier in the summer. Eto'o proved promising from the outset, making an impactful start with Inter by netting 2 goals in the first 2 matches of the season. Meanwhile, the signing of Ricardo Quaresma from Mourinho's former club Porto was initially seen as a missing piece in the Inter squad. However, Quaresma's performances failed to meet expectations, leading to his loan move to Chelsea midway through the season. Alongside Quaresma's underwhelming display, Inter faced challenges in dominating the midfield, prompting the club to prioritize addressing these deficiencies in the transfer market. One particular issue identified was the team's lack of creative playmaker, commonly known as a trequartista, which had been blamed for their underwhelming performance in the Champions League. In an effort to rectify this, Inter secured the signing of Dutch midfielder Wesley Sneijder from Real Madrid. Inter strengthened every position within their team, demonstrating an unwavering determination for victory. What set this group apart was their unrelenting hunger for titles. It's worth noting that the majority of these players were not young, and many were reaching the end of their careers. Time was not on their side. They knew they had to seize the opportunity and win in the present moment. Inter encountered a challenging start to the new season, facing difficulties in the first 2 matches. They suffered a 2-1 defeat to Lazio in the Supercoppa and were held to a 1-1 draw by Bari at their home ground. However, the team underwent a remarkable transformation in the following period. Under Mourinho's guidance, Inter witnessed a significant improvement, particularly in the midfield setup. With Wesley Sneijder playing a pivotal role, Supported by the talents of newly acquired Thiago Motta, the experienced Javier Zanetti and Dejan Stankovic, the team developed a formidable midfield unit. This tactical enhancement proved pivotal for Inter's success. As the season progressed, Inter's performances saw a notable upswing. By the end of November, they had already amassed more than 30 goals, displaying their attacking prowess. One particularly memorable victory was the resounding 4-0 triumph over the city rivals AC Milan in the derby. Both Diego Milito and Thiago Motta left their mark on the match by contributing goals. Additionally, Inter achieved a staggering 5-0 victory over Genoa, which stood as the largest margin of victory in the entire Serie A season. As Inter began their European journey from the group stage, they encountered a challenging start by securing draws in the initial phase. This particular group stage was given the moniker of the Group of Death because it exclusively consisted of national champions from renowned footballing nations. In the journey through the season, Inter faced various ups and downs both domestically and in the Champions League. Dominating Serie A, they comfortably held on to the top spot without any major obstacles. Simultaneously, they worked toward closing the gap in the Champions League group stage and secured their passage to the next round, finishing behind Barcelona in second place. Advancing to the round of 16 in the Champions League, Inter faced Chelsea, the very club that José Mourinho had previously coached from 2004 to 2007. Over the two-legged tie, Inter emerged victorious with a 3-1 aggregate scoreline, dismantling their opponents and progressing to the quarterfinals. The quarterfinal stage matched Inter against CSKA Moscow. They emerged as winners in both legs, securing 1-0 victories on each occasion. The team's collective effort advanced them even further, inching closer to their goal. However, amid their Champions League exploits, Inter faced a setback in the December Derby d'Italia away fixture. Mourinho found himself dismissed from the match when he sarcastically applauded the referee over a debatable free kick awarded to Juventus. It was a disappointing outcome, leaving Mourinho and his players eager to bounce back. The team's journey was accompanied by controversy, including Mourinho's strained relationship with young striker Mario Balotelli. As Inter faced a dip in form, securing only 7 points in 6 matches, the performances came under scrutiny from both the media and pundits. These struggles were further amplified by Mourinho's ban, during which 3 of the matches were played. However, amidst the turbulence, history was made on April 6, 2010. Mourinho accomplished a remarkable feat, becoming the first manager ever to lead 3 different teams to the semi-finals of the prestigious Champions League. Taking the successful season forward, Inter reached the Coppa Italia final for the first time under Mourinho on 13th April. They achieved this milestone by securing a 1-0 victory over Fiorentina in an away match, ultimately winning the tie 2-0 on aggregate. As they moved closer to their ultimate goal, Barcelona emerged as their final obstacle in their path. Just 4 days prior to the first leg against Barcelona, Inter gained momentum by defeating Juventus 2-0. The highly anticipated clash with the Spanish side saw an intriguing turn of events. The match was shrouded in ash cloud, literally. Barca were forced to travel to Milan by bus because of cancelled flights due to the volcanic ash cloud. On the match day, despite Barcelona scoring the opening goal through Pedro, Inter emerged victorious in the first leg with a final score of 3-1. This advantage proved crucial even though Inter faced a 1-0 loss in the second leg and had to play with 10 men after Thiago Motta received a red card. Mourinho regarded this defeat as the most beautiful defeat of my life. Inter's triumph over Barcelona propelled them to the Champions League final, marking a significant return after 38 years since their previous appearance in the grand stage. The victory was not without heated moments, as Mourinho engaged in a brief scuffle with Barcelona goalkeeper Victor Valdés while attempting to join in the Inter celebrations. Even after the match, Mourinho made comments suggesting that anti-Madridismo had fueled the Barca fans and their yearning to reach the final and win the tournament on the grounds of their arch-rivals. The media, including Marca, hailed Mourinho's success and proclaimed them as the ideal candidate for the next head coach of Real Madrid, while the fans reveled in the elimination of Barcelona. The achievement opened the door for Inter to participate in their first UEFA final in 12 years since the 1998 UEFA Cup. They were now on the cusp of making history. On 2nd May, a crucial milestone loomed near for Inter as they achieved a remarkable 2-0 victory against Lazio during an away match in Rome. This resounding victory brought them one step closer to securing the coveted Serie A title, filling the hearts of both the team and their fans with anticipation. Just 3 days later, on 5th May 2010, Inter claimed the Coppa Italia. In a hard-fought battle against Roma, Inter emerged triumphant with a narrow 1-0 victory. The next crowning moment came on 16th May 2010, when Inter faced Siena, where they secured a 1-0 win. This victory not only sealed the Serie A title for Inter, but also marked their completion of a remarkable feat, winning all the available trophies for a manager in the Serie A. They had just done the domestic double. But that was not all. History was just a step away. Thus, on 22nd May 2010, the stage was set for the biggest showdown of the European football. Inter had their chance to write their name in footballing history, but so did their opponent of the night, Bayern Munich. Both teams were chasing what would have been their first ever treble, and as we have already established, doing a treble is bloody difficult. Santiago Bernabeu was playing the host to this momentous occasion, but it wasn't all. It was not just Inter versus Bayern, but also Mourinho versus Van Gaal. It was the pupil versus the master. Mourinho had worked under Van Gaal as his assistant at Barcelona. He was a little bit arrogant, not always a respecter of reputations. Van Gaal has said of those early days at Barcelona, "I sometimes think I was the only guy who believed in Jose." The game was a tactical humdinger. Both teams were missing key personnel. Bayern were missing Frank Ribery due to a red card, while Inter missed Thiago Motta, who was serving a 2-game suspension. Inter decided to play on the counter and were relying on their defensive solidity. Bayern were the aggressor, looking for time and space around the Inter box. In the early going, Bayern seemed like the team more likely to score. Arjen Robben in particular was causing problems on the right. However, the 35th minute saw a long clearance from Cesar to Milito, who played it to Sneijder, only to receive it back and score. Against the run of play, Inter was ahead. It spelled doom for Bayern because Inter was famous for holding on to leads. They were tough to break down, and now they had a reason to really go on the defensive. Inter went into the break 1-0 up. The second half saw Bayern come out with a purpose. Early in the half, Thomas Müller missed a golden opportunity to equalize. In the 70th minute, however, Milito received the ball from Eto'o and went on a wonderful run, beating Bayern centre-back en route, a beautiful goal to put Inter 2-0 up. Milito wrote his name in golden letters. Before this, he was the man to have scored the goal to win Coppa Italia. He was the man to have scored the goal that won them the Serie A. And now, he scored twice on this historic night to clinch the Champions League. Inter had done it. This 2-0 win saw them lift their third Champions League, their first after 45 years. The pupil had bested the master. A momentous occasion, celebrated not only by the team, but by all their passionate fans around the world. This legendary victory ignited an unparalleled celebration as the entire club basked in the glory of this achievement. Mourinho, the charismatic leader at the helm, personally reveled in the glory of securing his second Champions League title as a manager. The Inter players were overcome by emotions after club's first European success in such a long time, but it wasn't the only thing that left them in the flood of tears. The Portuguese manager had already told them that he would be leaving to join Real Madrid after the final, no matter the result. With great elation, there was a tinge of sorrow in Mourinho. He had made up his mind of leaving the club. The Real Madrid job was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and he didn't want to pass upon it. On 20th May 2010, his wish came to fruition as he left Inter. While the fans celebrated for a long time, one of the most successful chapters of Mourinho's career had come to a close. Mourinho's tenure at Inter came to an end on a high. He delivered everything Inter and their fans craved. Mourinho did leave an indelible mark on the Inter fans, so much so that he received a hero's welcome on his return to San Siro as the manager of Roma in 2022. Inter since Jose has struggled. Though they have won 2 more Serie A titles and reached the 2023 Champions League final, losing to Manchester City. To say that Mourinho gave Inter their most memorable moment ever will be an understatement. The treble Inter won is one of the most impressive trebles in the history of football, and Mourinho will forever be remembered for that. Thank you for watching. Like if you liked it, share if you find it worthy, and subscribe for more such videos. This is Salty Football.